Before we start, warning. Spoilers ahead. Today, I'm gonna explain a 2010 American science fiction and action movie called TR0N Legacy. In 1989, Kevin Flynn, CEO of a technology company called Encom, tells his son, Sam, the story of his adventures in the grid. The grid is a virtual reality where disc battles in a spectacular arena, cycles that race on ribbons of lights, and lots of miraculous things happen there. It is created by Kevin alongside TR0N and CLU, who appears to be a program in Kevin's own image that could think. Sam is eager to know more about his dad's story, but is told to wait for next time as Kevin leaves for work. Before he goes, he invites his son to go to the arcade tomorrow and toss a coin to him. Suddenly, the scene cuts to a montage of events and news reporting about Kevin's disappearance, causing chaos in the company. The news also tells about the Encom company, which skyrocketed to the top of the tech industry while Kevin is taking charge as the CEO. It is also discovered that in 1985 Sam's mother died because of a car crash, leaving Sam as an orphan. One of Kevin's friends, Alan Bradley, insists that Kevin is not missing and is instead pursuing his dream of discovering something magical. The scene jumps to 2010. Sam, who now becomes Encom's primary shareholder after his father's disappearance, breaks into Encom Tower and attempts to steal the company's newest operating system OS 12, but is spotted by the company's security guard. On the other hand, Richard Mackey, current chairman of the company, states that OS 12, which previously was sold free, now will be a paid software because it is claimed to be one of the safest software in the world and there is no reason to sell it for free. Sam manages to hack into the Encom system and releases the OS 12 to the public for free on its release day as part of his annual prank to the company, making Michael furious. After being chased to the top of the tower by the security guard, Sam reveals himself as the biggest shareholder of Encom and then attempts to free fall off the tower with his parachute. As he tries to reach his motorbike, he is arrested by the police for trespassing, but is eventually released a few hours later. Sam returns to his apartment where he is confronted by Alan, who tells him about a page signal he received from Sam's father's office in the arcade, which has been disconnected for 20 years. Alan also shares a story about Kevin, who came to Alan's house 2 days before he disappeared and claimed that he had cracked the code about quantum teleportation. Alan also adds that Kevin wouldn't have left that invention and wouldn't have left his only son. Sam doesn't believe his story and says that Kevin is already dead and does not care about him anymore. Before Alan leaves, he hands over the arcade key to Sam, saying that he must be the one who goes there and finds out what is happening. Later on the night, Sam decides to pay a visit to the arcade and manages to locate a hidden doorway behind the TR0N arcade machine, which leads him to a secret workshop underneath the playing room. Sam explores through his father's computer and activates a digitizing laser behind him by accident, transporting him into the digital world called TR0N City. The confused Sam then walks out from the arcade building, realizing that everything has changed and the city has transformed into a very modern and digitized city called Grid. He is then captured by an recognizer and is assigned by the program to participate in the games, while the others are being rectified. Sam is then taken down to a room where he is equipped with armor and an identity disc which records everything its holder does or learns. After that, he is delivered to Disc Wars Arena, where he has to fight several programs and has to be the last man standing in order to win the game. After several breathtaking fights, he has to face a program named Rinsler, the only program who uses 2 identity discs while fighting, in the final fight. Rinsler seems to be a much stronger and experienced fighter than Sam as he is outskilled by the program. When Rinsler is about to launch his final blow, he notices blood coming from Sam and suddenly recognizes him as a user. The Grid's boss, who has been watching the entire fight from a flying ship, commands the fighter to bring Sam to him. As the two meet, Sam believes at first that he is talking to his father, before realizing that it is CLU when he says that he is not his father, who apparently has the same image and appearance with his father as described in the beginning of the movie. After the encounter, Sam is being sent to the next game, which is Light Cycle Grid, while a masked woman watches them unnoticed. Surprisingly, he is assigned with a team challenge directly by CLU and his followers. Equipped by a futuristic motorcycle, the battle begins. Members from both teams are slowly eliminated one by one until Sam and CLU become the final survivor. Sam falls off from his bike and CLU is coming after him. Luckily, the mysterious woman comes with his futuristic car, saving him from being killed by CLU. Both of them then escape from the arena and she introduces herself as Cora while driving away the Grid. They eventually arrive at a safe house far outside the Grid, where Sam finally meets his long-awaited father and they hug. At dinner, Kevin explains to his son that he was working with TR0N and CLU to make Grid into a perfect system. However, a brand new type of program manifested itself within the Grid. They are called isomorphic algorithms or ISOs and were considered as a miracle by Kevin in his story to Sam at the beginning of the movie before his disappearance. Kevin felt they represented revolutionary potential to change the human condition. CLU, who saw them as aberrations, betrayed Kevin and Tron in order to take control of the system and purge it of all ISOs. Tron, who was designed to be a warrior, fought back for Kevin and was destroyed by CLU. Since then, Tron was never seen again while Kevin managed to flee. Kevin remained trapped in the grid when the portal back to the real world closed, causing him to disappear for a very long period of time. He adds that the portal can only be opened from the outside of the grid. Sam insists on taking his father out of the grid and returning home because the portal will remain open for 8 hours in grid. But Kevin refuses, as this is exactly what CLU has been planning, to lure the creator into the grid and then try to obtain his disk. Kevin's identity disk contains a lot of valuable information that will endanger the real world if it was stolen by CLU, because it will allow him to be transferred into the real world. Sam also discovers that the page signal received earlier by Alan was not sent by Kevin, but CLU. Sam is optimistic if he could make it to the portal, even without his dad, he and Alan could shut down CLU from the outside. Wanting to help, Cora hands over a map containing the location of a program named Zeus who may be able to help Sam. Against his father's wish, Sam takes his father's light cycle and goes back to the grid. Later on the night, Kevin finds his son missing and finally decides to come out of hiding to go after his son. Upon arrival, Sam abandons the light cycle in the middle of the city, causing CLU's operatives to trace its point of origin, which is Kevin's safe house. CLU and his army immediately travel to the safe house, but finding no one as Kevin has gone away. Sam is brought by a woman called Jem to Zeus's clubhouse called End of Line Club. There, he meets Castor and Castor brings him to his private room where he reveals that he is actually Zeus. He then betrays Sam to CLU, whose army, called Blackguard, suddenly appears at the club and starts killing everyone. Cora and Kevin arrive just in time to assist Sam. Unfortunately, Cora's arm is destroyed in the ensuing brawl, forcing them to flee from the club. As the trio escape, one of the Blackguards attempts to steal Kevin's disk and Zeus manages to take it from the guard. Zeus hands over the identity disk to CLU, hoping that both of them could build a mutual relationship. But, he is then betrayed by CLU, who explodes the entire club, killing both Zeus and Jem in the process. Kevin and Sam argue over their next course of action, finally decide to take a freight train called Solar Sailor to the portal. As he is repairing Cora's arm, Kevin reveals that Cora is the last surviving ISO. While on their way and waiting for Cora's system rebooting, Sam and Kevin bond with each other. Upon awakening, Cora shares her story about how she met Kevin, who saved her from an assault. She also has a desire to see what the real world looks like. Unexpectedly, the Solar Sailor's route has been diverted, taking them to a massive carrier ship, where CLU is repurposing programs in order to form his own army. As they try to find a way out, Cora decides to sacrifice herself to distract the enemy, ends up getting captured by Rinsler and is brought to CLU. When fighting with Cora, Kevin realizes that Rinsler is actually Tron, who has been repurposed by CLU. CLU gives a speech towards his army of repurposed programs about his grand plan to rule the real world. Having secured Kevin's identity disk, he is now able to take his carrier and army to invade the real world. While Kevin is trying to find a plane for their escape, Sam decides to go to CLU's command ship in order to save Cora and take back the identity disk. He manages to retrieve the disk when Rinsler suddenly comes to the ship with Cora. Both of them have a rematch, and with Cora's help, they manage to disarm him and leave him hanging over the ledge. They then escape and finally meet Kevin on the flying deck. While on their way to the portal, Kevin, Sam, and Cora are confronted and chased by CLU, Rinsler, and his Blackguards. Sam, with his machine gun, and Cora with his piloting skill manage to eliminate all the Blackguards, leaving CLU and Rinsler in the opposing team. When Kevin makes eye contact with Rinsler, he begins to regain his memories as Tron and abandons the chase, leaving CLU to pursue them alone. Suddenly, Rinsler turns back and purposely crashes his jets towards CLU's. In freefall, CLU manages to steal Rinsler's backup jet and continues his chase towards the group, leaving Rinsler to fall into the sea. As the trio fly towards the portal, Kevin asks Cora to swap their identity disk. Upon arrival at the portal's gate, they have been waited by CLU. Kevin and CLU start their conversation, where CLU claims that he was simply following the directive programmed into him. He insists that it was Kevin who betrayed his promise to make a perfect world together. Kevin accepts the fact that he was wrong at some point, and apologizes for setting CLU on such an impossible task. CLU suddenly attacks Kevin and Sam tries to fight back, but gets thrown away instead to the other side of the bridge. The bridge to the portal starts to break off, separating Sam and Cora whilst CLU goes for Kevin's disc, but he is shocked to find out that he has been tricked because it is Cora's disc. Frustrated and furious, CLU jumps to reach Sam and Cora, but it's too late as they have got inside the portal. Kevin then reintegrates with CLU, causing them to explode and destroy the entire world. Back in the real world, Sam copies the grid from Kevin's old servers onto a small microchip he wears around his neck. Alan then arrives at the arcade after receiving another page where Sam states that he will take over Encom and choose Alan as the chairman. He also adds that Alan was right about everything. Cora surprisingly appears in the real world and Sam decides to bring her to see the sunrise for the first time. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.